You're feeling disconnected, uninspired, and drained in your life because you've been trying to lead and create from your ego self, from your mind, and you haven't been allowing your soul to lead the way. You haven't been listening to where your soul has been trying to guide you. You haven't been listening to where the energy is pulling you. Instead, you have been taking on majority of the creator role, and you've been trying to create from your wounds, from your triggers. You've been in your head about it, right? And you're feeling disconnected because nothing is aligning in your reality. Nothing seems to work, right? It's because of this. It's because this isn't how the creation process works. So many people are making this manifestation process, this creation process, life so much fucking harder than it needs to be. It doesn't need to be like that. In fact, it actually gets to be quite easy, and I know a lot of people get kind of triggered when I say this, and I'm not saying this is an easy thing to do. What I am saying though is that the process is easy when you learn to get your human out of the way, when you learn how to manage the ego, right? Because you actually get to see that there is actually not a whole lot you need to do other than manage your human self, right? Manage your human self and then learn what it means to actually listen to where the energy is taking you, where it's showing you to go. And what's really cool about this conversation is that you have that answer right now. And that's what I want to unpack with you in today's live. I think so many people are like, but I don't know where like soul is taking me. I don't know where the energy is pulling me. And it's always clear, it's always there, and at the end of this live you're going to get to it and you're going to be like, I know exactly what I need to do, I know exactly where I need to go, who I need to be, and I know exactly like what my next steps are, right? What the energy is asking you to embody at this current moment, because the answer is always there. And we're often fighting against the thing that's right in front of us because we have all of these stories around it, and that you fighting against it is literally the very thing that keeps you stuck in the same experience that you're in, where you feel unaligned and disconnected from your reality, where you just feel drained and you feel like nothing is working for you. This is a conversation that I just think is really needed to have. Wait, what was that English? This is a conversation that I think is needed in the manifestation space. Jeez, can I speak? It really is, because I see so much content now in the manifestation community being taught from people's egos, being taught from ego consciousness. And it's why so many people in the manifesting community have access to this life-changing information, but they don't actually experience change and evolution in their life. It's because they're learning through other people's ego consciousness, and then their ego consciousness is like receiving that information and then creating from that place. What do I mean by this? So a lot of what I see in the manifesting community is so much control when it comes to the manifesting process. And when I say this, it's not that this doesn't work. Like, I was a part of creating this content at one point, right? And, at that point, I genuinely thought like, no, this is how it works. And that's how I was experiencing it, because that's how it was being taught to me. And it's like, it was working, to manifest specific things into your life, specific numbers, specific goals. Like, it did work, set your eye on the prize. It's like, what do you want to create? And don't waver from that, right? Be certain in that, command that. And I really did walk in that way, and it worked. That's the thing. It worked on the outside, but there was always something that just felt off within me, right? As I was creating and going through life and, achieving all of these milestones and creating all of these things, I was like, okay, and why don't I feel this sense of peace? Why am I still on this up and down roller coaster? Why does it still feel like I'm holding my breath waiting for these manifestations to happen? Why does it still feel like I'm not fully in life and excited to be in life? Why am I still trying to create problems out of nothing? Why am I still struggling with thoughts of lack and limitation? This shouldn't be happening. I've entered this experience where I've proved to myself that I can create whatever I want, right? My reality is responding to my demands. Like, I'm the creator, I'm powerful. Can I not see this? Why don't I feel peace? Why am I not feeling fulfilled? Right? And for me, I've always entered this spiritual journey, this spiritual path with the intention to deepen into myself and into my truth. And when I got to this experience, I just realized I'm like, okay, there's a deeper level that I need to crack here that I haven't yet cracked. Because this isn't it. Like, this isn't the life that I set out to live. It doesn't matter that everything is like looking great on the outside. I'm not feeling great on the inside. And that has been my entire motivation for this entire path, for starting this business, for going down my spiritual journey. It's all been for me. Can I get closer to life? Can I get closer to myself and really heal? So that's when I like started to do a lot of this like internal journey, and I realized I was like, wow, like so much of this external abundance and success that I've created has come from my ego self, has come from the wounded part of me that wanted validation, that wanted to prove to, my mum, my dad, others, everyone, who wanted to prove to myself that I could make something of myself, that I was important, that I was going to be this like, successful person and whatever the fuck. There were things to prove based on my wounds. There was this energy in which I was moving through in life where it was like, I'm not enough. So let me gain all of these things in the outside to prove that I am enough, that I am worthy. And when I realized this, I was like, wow, there's no desire since seeing this, like there's no desire to need these things now, because I was realizing that I don't need anything outside of me in order to be happy, whole, and complete. I don't need the success. I don't need the money. I don't need even the travel and the things in life in order to prove that I've made it. I don't need anything outside of me. Because I was sitting with this new concept where I realized that I am enough as I am. Just through my existence alone makes me enough. And then it got me realizing and just reflecting on the manifesting community and, the type of content that I was contributing to like creating, and versus like also the content that I was receiving and the mentors that I was listening to. And I was like, interesting. Because I'm hearing it so different now. I'm hearing it through such a different level of consciousness. And I'm like, wow, like what would be the motivation of creating like this success and things like that if it wasn't coming from ego consciousness? In my experience at that point. So for me, I really needed to like take a step back, and that was the best thing that I could do for myself at that point in my life. Because it really I really got to like detach from all of these external desires and really go within and just find love for each moment that life was bringing me, and not seeing my life through the lens of trying to create these like highlight reels, but rather making every moment a highlight reel, right? Something as simple as just like sitting in the car and feeling the warmth inside the car. And like, these were words that I was saying, and I'm not going to gaslight myself into saying that I wasn't embodying this, but I was. But there was still this like slight underlying energy of like, I do this to get to the next level. And this was like the period of my life where I was entering the phase where I was like, I do this just because I get to do this. I do this because why wouldn't I do this? I do this because we could die tomorrow. Why wouldn't I absorb and take in this fucking moment? And I promise there's relevance to what I'm explaining right now, because I feel like the backstory is relevant as to how I got here and to what the topic of today's live is really around, which is following the energy and what the energy is telling you. Because when I fully got to this now moment and I got to be here and I got to experience what this moment was giving me, and not needing to be like, I'm in this moment to get a next moment, right? There was no future projection. It was just, I'm here. And it was like, these realizations were coming online for me, where I was realizing that the future doesn't even exist. I was like, whoa, like I've been deluding myself living for this future reality that's so fleeting, that doesn't exist. There are so many future realities that could happen, and I'm missing the most important reality, which is the present right now, because I'm trying to create for the future. It just made no fucking sense. I was like, what the fuck? Like, that is not living. That is not living. And it reminded me of this story. I don't know where I heard this from, so if anyone knows, please put it in the comments below. But it's the story of, who said this story? Somebody did. But it's the story of like, wait, is that relevant? No, I was going to explain it. No, not relevant. I feel like it's not. We're going to go off tangent. We're going to stay on course. So anyway, I'm practicing being in the moment, and I mean fully being in the moment, like I've never been in this moment before, right? There was no other moment. There's no what's going to happen tomorrow. There's no what's going to happen in the next moment. It's like giving myself to each moment. Whoever I was with, I was giving my whole heart, my whole attention to them. If I wasn't with anyone, if I was on a walk, I was giving my whole heart, my whole attention to this walk. I was being in the experience. I was taking in every little thing around me. And this is a constant practice that I'm coming back to, right? It's a constant reprogramming of who I was, and coming and really embodying this version of me that's like really here, right? So as I entered each moment, I realized there was so much magic to find in each moment. And not only in the magic of like what was being presented, right, or of what was, but like I was noticing that I was noticing these little like tendrils of like energy kind of pulling me and playing with me and like pulling my attention and guiding me. And it was like, I felt energy come in when it comes in like big waves. But when it's like the big things where it's like, go do this, go jump off this cliff, go, you know what I mean? Where it's like telling you to go do something and you're just like, yeah. But this was different. This was like the energy coming through in these like little waves, and these little like, go here, do this. And I'm not saying like it was like, do like, go reach out to this person in business and go do that and go invest in this. It wasn't like that. It was like, I'm walking down a straight path, I can turn left or right, and it was like, turn left. And it was clear. And I was like, oh, yeah, let's turn left. And there was no expectation with turning left. And that was the beauty of this experience as well. It was like the soul calling was coming, where it was like, turn left. But there wasn't this like, now if I turn left, this needs to be the best work of my entire life. I need to find $50 on the ground, and this and this and this needs to happen, right? Which is kind of what was happening when I was creating and leading from ego self, and I was trying to manifest from my ego. I was like, oh, the energy called me here. Now this could lead to this and this and this and this, right? It was very much this like, I get type of energy, rather than just like a fucking take a step back, babes. Breathe, and let's just go on this experience for the joy and the experience of just going on this experience. Like, can we just like turn left because we get to turn left, and let's just experience what turning left is going to give us. There is no expectation for it to be good, for it to be bad. It's just, it is going to be what it's going to be, and it's going to be happening for me regardless of what it brings. And it was that piece that really fucking changed that game and made this clarity even more clear, right? Because there was no noise that was blocking the, like, so, for example, when you have that noise where it's like, well, if I turn left, is this going to happen? What happens if it doesn't happen? And blah, blah, blah. And you start to get into your head about it. And then your mind starts to get active again. And it goes, well, maybe we need to turn right. Maybe right is the right decision, right? And then all of a sudden you've distorted the energy. You're consulting your mind, you're going back and forth. Your intuition's already told you to turn left, but you've gone into the mind, you're talking to the mind, you've distorted the energy, and now all of a sudden you're like, well, maybe I need to turn fucking right now. Like, is that right? Yeah, left and right. Okay, got my I'm like, am I going the right way? Anyway, it's like, maybe I need to turn right now. And then you turn right, and then it ends up being this experience that's completely like not in harmony, not in resonance with what your soul wanted you to create, with where you were actually being led. I feel like that's a really good analogy to explain it, right? So all of a sudden, in these moments of presence and non-expectation of like where the future should lead me and where I should go, it's like the energy coming forward was so clear. It was like, do this, go here. And I was getting to experience the potency of that without any obstruction from the mind. And what I realized as I was like following these like little energetic like nudges throughout the day, where it was like, do this, cook this, clean this, go here, create this, speak to this person, right? As I was just doing these little things from non-expectation, from experience, from I get to energy, I realized that I was moving so much faster and in resonance. Finally, I was creating from a place where it felt like I'm satiated. Is that the right word? I'm satiated. I'm fed. I'm fulfilled. I feel full. I feel here. I feel like my cup is overflowing. I'm not operating in need. I'm not looking around me to create more. And in this fullness, when I'm interacting with each moment and each person and each experience, I'm doing it for the sake of like, I just want to pour into this. I just want to give, because there's nothing I need. But I'm like, when you're so full, you just want to give. You want to give that energy to everything around you, to the people around you. You want to make every moment better because you were in it, right? And that's exactly what was happening. And I was moving from this place, and I moved from this place now. And this energy, as it was guiding me, I just realized not only was I moving so much in resonance, in fullness, in truth, in harmony, but I was moving with so much more ease in my life. It just felt like creation happened as a byproduct of this energy, and there was nothing I needed to do. I didn't need to micromanage the amount of money I was calling in and making sure that I was paying X, Y, and Z, and making sure that my business was growing and thriving, and I was attracting X, Y, and Z person. It wasn't that. Instead, it was like these things happen as a byproduct, or they don't happen, and that's a redirection, and I get to learn from, like, whatever it was. It was like there was just no expectation. It was just like creation unfolds. But when you're operating in that resonance, it usually just, it's like all of those things that you were trying to micromanage and create, they just end up naturally getting met. And you don't have to fucking force it. You don't have to make it happen. You don't have to try and create it. You don't have to try to do anything. You don't have to try and align your energy to this like thing that you're trying to call in. It's like that type of manifesting is not sturdy. It's not stable. It's not going to lead to you creating consistency in your life, right? Because your alignment depends on whether or not this thing happens. And it's like, if it's not happening, you're creating stories that there's a problem. When in reality, it's like, maybe this thing does want to come in, and your soul has been trying to show you an easy pathway to make that happen. But because your energy is in non-resonance, because you're creating from your ego self, your human self, and you're so fixated on what's happening and what's not happening in your reality, that your energy is just not on point, that you literally can't be a match to this experience. Or it's like, this thing isn't actually meant for you because so much more is meant for you. Something that actually is going to fulfill you and give to you is actually meant for you, but you can't allow it in. You can't call it in because your energy is in such disarray. Your energy is out of whack. And the thing is, with your energy, you've got complete free will as a soul on this plane. Your soul can't override that, right? Your human calls the shots. It gets to decide where you go, because you're mastering where you put your attention, where you put your focus, right? You're the master of that. Your soul can guide you. It can give you little like nudges. It can lead the way, and it actually wants to lead the way. It wants to work with you. It wants to work in harmony with you. It wants to show you. It wants to help you. It wants to give to you. It wants you to evolve, right? It's like entire purpose is to do that. It wants to do that, but the thing is, it can't if you're not listening. It can't guide you. It can't give to you if you're not following the little nudges, if you're not letting the energy, if you're not allowing the energy to lead you. And this is often work that I do with my clients, right? This is what it all comes back to. Everything we do is about getting out of the mind, getting out of the ego, and creating from the here and the now, getting to this moment and connecting to the world around you, connecting to this moment, being so fucking full and feeling so fucking powerful because you are who you are, just because you are you, and not needing any of these external things to validate you, to tell you that you're enough, to prove that you're enough, right? You don't need anything outside of yourself, and from this place you create from such fucking power, and you can actually meet where the energy is guiding you, and it always leads to the next level. It always leads to up levels, because this is when you're truly playing in the quantum field, which is the realm of the unknown, right? Where you're not creating and you're not like fixating on what could happen and what couldn't happen, because what you think can happen and what can't happen is so fucking limited to what is actually possible. There is so many realities available to you, and you really cut yourself off from source and magic when you are obsessed and obsessing over creating specific things in your reality because your ego needs these things to happen for whatever reason. What I said at the start of this live is that it is your job to control your human. It is your job to witness what your human is doing and to learn what it means to not respond, to learn what it means to witness emotions, allow them to be there, and then to let them go. I just did a reel on the importance of letting them go. So many people are talking about feeling your emotions, but fuck, like, the conversation on letting them go, on that like non-identification with these emotions, is everything, because it actually what leads to the evolution. It leads to the energetic change. It leads to the vibrational shift that then completely transforms your reality. This is where power fucking happens. This is where magic happens. And this is the life that you actually want to live. This is how your soul wants to lead in this life. This is what you were actually supposed to bring to the collective. A lot of spiritual leaders, entrepreneurs, influencers, like whatever you want to call yourself, you're in this space, you have a platform, you know you have something important to share. Maybe you're a speaker or wherever it is, you're a podcaster, you're a YouTuber, you have this message to share. It's this vibrational code and frequency that you are here to bring to the collective at this time. We are shifting into this new age of spirituality, but this is going to come with you moving out of ego consciousness and really, really embracing what it means to create and move from soul. You are literally the way shower. It is your responsibility to do this, to bring this to the collective. And until you do, you're not going to feel satisfied with what you create. Like I said, even if you do end up creating the things that you want, even if you do end up creating the things that your ego wants, it's not going to feel right. Something's always going to feel off. You're going to be like, this isn't quite right. I'm not feeling satisfied, connected, like I'm serving my truth. And it's because this is your truth. You don't want to know the end result as well. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, so many people are trying to like micromanage their life because they're afraid of things not happening or things happening, and they cut themselves off from magic. And it's like, fuck, nobody wants to know the ending to any story. And this is like, you just live such a fucking full and fulfilling and a big fucking life when you are willing to truly dance and create peace in the unknown, in the non-expectation. That is where you truly actually want to be. Everyone loves to be like surprised, and you know, you want to feel like life is flirting with you, right? I know that that was the feeling when I first started this entire like awakening journey. I just remember like I get emotional thinking about it. It was just waking up to the fact that like magic is real. And I wanted to play in that magic. And I think so many people, they get into this world and then they can kind of cut themselves off from that magic due to like, you know, the things that come up, the humanness that comes up, the pain that can sometimes come up with this experience as well, where you're like overly trying to create and blah, 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 as I explained. Where you get so controlling with your reality and you let the wounds and the triggers and the ego lead the way, and you really do cut yourself off from this source. But you don't have to. And all of that, if that has been your journey, know that, you know, that has been my experience as well. And it's a gift that you get to come back home to this truth and remember this and anchor into doing this work. And it's what actually, like, it leads to the evolution. It tells the broader story. Like, it serves a purpose, and we can use that experience for magic, for healing, to change other people's experience as well. Often you'll find that when you are a way shower, you're a leader, you're an entrepreneur, you're a teacher, you're a mentor, and you're in this space and you're going through these experiences, it's always for a purpose. Your story is going to save so many people's lives and transform so many people's lives. So I feel like I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you so much for tuning in with this live. It was such a good chat. It's one that's been on my heart this week to really talk about. So I'm glad that I got the chance to sit down and have this transmission. That's what it really felt like. It felt like a transmission. As always, my one-on-one spaces are open. She leads. So if you are feeling the call to really anchor into this energy and really get to that next level and live your life from this frequency, from this place of this frequency, if this energy that you're feeling radiating off of me, if you're feeling this like vibe and you're feeling like this is my next step, this is what I'm here to embody, and you're ready, She Leads is for you. If you want to have a chat, my DMs are open, and I'm so happy to talk about what your options are with that. I will always respect your no as well when it comes to my one-on-one spaces. They're for a specific person, right? So if it's a no for you as we're having a chat, I honor that, I respect that. And yeah, so know that you have a safe space to come in and to have a chat. I know some people feel like, oh, I don't want to go, and like feel like I can't say no. It's like, no, you can say no, honor your no. And yeah, this way we can have a chat and see if these spaces are right for you. Actually, I should, like, before I go, I should mention this, because I've been mentioning it here and there, but I think it'll be good to have this, like, you know, on the live as well. But my one-on-one spaces have evolved quite a bit, and I've just loved the way that the energy has been guiding me with my one-on-one spaces. It's been so intuitive. It's so funny. Like, I started off doing like group spaces and masterminds, and not masterminds, masterclasses and things like that, to moving into one-on-one work, and now my energy is just full into like one-on-one work. I fucking love it. Like, this is where my energy thrives. My clients thrive in these spaces. I just love it, because with one-on-one work, it's like the spotlight is on you. You can't hide. You can't hide away from the shadows and the things that are keeping you from stepping into that next level. And it's just this constant like calling into power, calling yourself into more, and they're confronting spaces, but they really do lead to that transformation, the up level. I work with a lot of people who have been in this world for quite a while. I always call them seasoned veterans at this work, and they come into my work world and, you know, truly actually experience the change and the wisdom that they've been learning, I should say, over these years. Because in these spaces, it takes them to embodiment, and that's the power of one-on-one mentoring spaces. It actually leads to embodiment. That's actually the entire, like, my entire one-on-one spaces are structured in a way that really promotes embodiment. That's everything is designed to ensure that you are working in embodiment, right? And the reason why I love my one-on-one spaces is because it's not just about learning, it's not just about awareness, it's not just about knowledge, it's about embodiment. That is the number one thing we focus on, and it's why my one-on-one spaces are designed in the way that they are. So they're entirely Voxer based containers. I have found this the most beneficial when it comes to leading clients, and versus like also myself when I've been the client and I've hired like, you know, certain mentor experiences. I thrive in Voxer spaces, both like facilitating a Voxer space and also having it done on me as well. And my clients have said the same thing. With Voxer spaces, it just really allows you to experience, like, grab the information that you need, listen to the information that you need in bite-sized chunks. And it actually allows to, rather than like information overload, rather than it like being like so much being thrown at you all at once, you get a chance to actually sit with what's being said and take it in and chew on it. And you can listen back, right? Rather than like, for example, one-on-one calls, sometimes it feels like a whole bunch of information is being thrown at you and it feels overwhelming. It feels like information overload. So with this, you're receiving the information in bite-sized chunks. Not only can you use the container in a way that honors your schedule, so when you have space and time, you can like go into the container and actually like, you know, give your attention and your focus to it, which I love. But on top of that as well, with my experiences, you know, you can purchase either, I think it's 4 weeks or 12 weeks with me, and you get to use these weeks in a way that works with you. So you could do like 1 week on and 1 week off, 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off. And this allows time for integration rather than it being like, you know, 4 weeks all the way through. You can do that if you choose, but this also gives you like flexibility to be like, okay, I've had 1 week on and 1 week off or whatever. And it gives you a chance to actually integrate and embody what is being said, what is being taught. So you really get to use these sessions, your mentoring weeks, in a way that actually suits you and what you need. And I really love this because it actually gives you a chance to be like, all right, hold on, let me actually embody what was said. And now, like, once I've embodied what was said, I'm going to grow from there, and let's go from there. And that's why, like, people are moving so fucking fast in my world. Honestly, the growth is unmatched. So many people that come into my world and we have like a couple of months together, they're just like literally, who was that version of me at the start of the container? I don't even fucking know her. It is so powerful. And it's because of this. I love the space. I love the way that the spaces have evolved. It's so fucking flexible. And yeah, it really, really, really works. So if you're feeling the vibes, DMs are open. I'd love to have a chat with you. I'm going to end it there. I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.